welcome you to this masterclass brought to you by the Welingkar Institute of Management, Media and Entertainment team and Yangpoo Executive Education. And we are really glad to have a young, talented entrepreneur and a creative head from one of India's finest content and digital and a multi-integrated agency, Mr. Rohit Raj. Welcome to the show. Rohit is the co-founder and creative head at The Glitch, which is a WPP group company. And Rohit has been a serial entrepreneur. And he's going to take us through the journey. Rohit comes with a very strong understanding of academics. He is a graduate and MBA from Symbiosis. And he's worked as an entrepreneur, grown up the ranks, worked with big MNCs like the Channel V and many other companies. And then he is on the entrepreneur journey for almost last 9 years back. He started Glitch. But I'm going to leave that to Rohit to tell us his story. And he's a great storyteller. I've seen some of his videos and I've seen the kind of the work they do with the best OTT brands which anybody as a youngster would aspire to work. So it's going to be a fantastic power pack session today. Rohit, let me introduce you to the audience. So this is on the platform of the Welingkar Institute of Management, and we run a 11-month post-graduation full-time program in media and advertising for almost 1 decade now. And we attract students who want to make careers in branding, advertising, digital, social media, in sports, celebrity. It's an integrated program, one of its kind in the country. And we're doing it for a decade or so. And we get best of the talents. Our alumni work, many of them work in companies like yours also. So that is the prospective students who would like to join our programs. We also have students, faculty member and young industry professionals who are really eager to learn from you, understand from you what is the future of content and branding and tech put together is going to be. Today we have also invited a lot of young entrepreneurs who are, looking forward to you to understand your startup journey and now a full-fledged MNC company, that kind of a thing. So that is a mixed audience which we are there, which we are going to have. So we will start, Rohit, and welcome again. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sumit. It was those kind words.
Yes. So Rohit, just take us through your journey. How you started, where do you come from, and now everybody knows you. But how that entire struggle, the journey, the pain, and the glory.
Okay. Well, I think early start. I grew up. I'm actually from Kerala, but I'm Malayali, but I grew up in Hyderabad. My parents were in Hyderabad, right? So,
okay.
And like true, grew up in that whole entire segment of all South Indian kids, right? Whose ultimate ambition is to become either a doctor or an engineer, and then go on to do their MS. So the only difference being at my house, my parents were of the other opinion that, hey, I think you're more inclined towards arts and maybe you should go towards the arts field. So I had the reverse point of everybody else's problem. I had to fight with my parents to want to go and do engineering.
Wow.
So I actually literally had to put up a fight saying, no, I want to do engineering. Why are you pushing me away? So finally went the path, because all my friends were doing that, eventually realized midway through that that's probably not the space I want to be in, and came out of it. As in, I finished my course, but then took a different path from there. But back in when I started off engineering, the whole thing dawned upon when during the 1998-99 time, when the .com boom was happening, right? Everybody was out there making websites. Websites were the big thing. And because I was always a geek, interested in tech, we would dabble around it, and we realized that there is potential for us to do something on the same lines. So 3 of us, that was my first ever entrepreneurial stint. So we started something called Mouse Potato, which is like this. It was in Hyderabad. We were trying to do a locally curated website, which would kind of tell you all the good things, the places to visit. So if I have to put it in as many words, it's almost like the brown paper bag that's happening today.
Yes.
So it was like a portal where you would do this. And it was a side project that started. I mean, literally, we didn't know, we were all really young at that point. We had no concept of funding, etc. Just borrowed some money from parents for a URL and we coded it ourselves, and we would write the articles ourselves. It did get a decent amount of traction. I saw my first ever exit, because at that point there was another website that was looking to expand. They came to us. They said, hey, you seem to have decent traffic. We want to buy you out. and
Wow.
they put down a check of 3 lakh rupees. And for us, 3 lakhs was huge. We were like, that's it. We are like multi-billionaires. And that
Yes.
was our first ever exit for 3 lakh rupees. It's funny when you look back at it today. But yeah, that's where it happened. Then I moved to Simbi. So I went to Symbiosis to pursue an education in advertising. So they had a course in advertising. I signed up for that. 6 months into that course, I told myself, this is not what I want to do, because
Okay.
it's just it. So the problem, I think, and it's good that we have students here. Let's cut this thing out and put it out there, right? So which is, when I grew up, all my decisions on career, etc., came from a lot of television that I watched or content I consumed. I was watching
True.
movies, and I thought advertising is this really cool place where you sit there and you're given a brand, and then you write a film and you go through, and that's what it is. 6 months of that education at Simpi, and I was like, dude, this is not, advertising had so much more to it. So there was servicing and there was media planning, and that is where the focus was. The focus was very limited on how to write, make an ad or anything of that sort, at least in the first 6 months. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. I want to make an ad. I want to go shoot an ad. So we had an option of switching from advertising to filmmaking in the same course. So I opted out 6 months later and said that I don't think I'm cut for advertising. So I moved into filmmaking, came to Bombay, and I got a job with Channel V at that point in time. In the promo team. So Channel V at that point was the cool channel to be in, right? So it was it was MTV and Channel V, two channels that were doing really interesting stuff. I got to, so I went there as a promo director because I learned filmmaking. So I was shooting, etc. If I look back, Channel V for me was film school. That is the place where I learned the most, because what Channel V did was it gave you an open canvas and it gave you zero budgets.
And they were new to India then?
No, they were new to India. They were quite established by then. They were under the
Okay.
Star umbrella.
Yes.
But so this is in 2007. I joined Channel V.
Okay.
They were, and they were all in their peak at that point of time. But the thing was, Channel V was always the in the Star network. It was that boutique channel that they had. So it wasn't like the channel that had all the money. The money was always still in the GEC segment, right? So none of us got as much money, but we got the freedom to do what we wanted to do. So we learned how to make content in limited resources and limited amount of money. So in advertising, when you go out today to shoot, and not today, but back in the day when we used to go to shoot, there was a director and there would be like 5 assistant directors and 4 set designers. We didn't have the option of that. The director was the AD. The director was also helping out with it. So that's how I learned at Channel V. And I was continuing. I spent good 2 years at Channel V. And in 2009, Channel V made a big decision. I went to Channel V because it's a music channel. And in 2009, they turned around and they said, we're not going to be playing music anymore. We're shifting focus from music to mainstream programming, which is more like a GC. And we were like, okay, why are you doing this? And they said, because the audience who used to love music and consume the kind of content they did have moved on from TV to digital. They're so nobody's waiting for TV to play a song. They're going on YouTube to listen to it. And that was a great realization. So I remember sitting across the table with Varun, who's my co-founder. So Varun and I went to Simbi together. That's where we met. We came to Bombay together. We used to stay in the same house. So we were both flatmates. He used to work at MTV and I was at Channel V. Then he also came to Channel V. So it's funny. So Varun and I were sitting across the table. I was like, dude, if they are saying that everybody has moved to, the audience has moved to the internet, who is making content beyond music for the internet? Is there content to be made? And we are like, okay, that's a good space for us to explore. So 2009, peak of recession, where people are losing jobs, we decided to quit our jobs. We decided to quit our jobs at that point. So and I still remember this, and we sat across the room with, so I sat across the room with my CD and told her that, and this is like 2 days after we've all been given our promotions and our KRAs, etc. Right? So, and she thought I was not happy with the number I was given. So she's like, it's okay, don't worry, we'll figure that out. I'm like, no, it's nothing to do with the number, because I'm actually surprised you gave me a hike also. But I want to go, and everybody around us kept telling us, you're making a mistake. Because it's recession, people are losing, you're making a mistake, we heard the word mistake so many times. So if you realize the glitch, the name the glitch means
what
mistake.
Is that? Yeah.
It
I
means
was
a
going to ask
mistake.
you. It's a
So,
mistake. Ah, the mistake.
so
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
we look.
Wow.
So we said that if you don't do new things, you will not. You will commit mistakes only when you do new things. So we
Try
want you
new
to go new.
things.
So the glitch is a disruption. It's an error. It's a mistake. All of those things. So
Wow.
we quit and we started Glitch. And Glitch started not as an advertising agency, right? So we started as a production house. And
Okay.
we started because we came with production background. So I used to
Backgrounds.
shoot ad films. Varun used to make long format shows at Channel V. So we
Okay.
both quit Channel V because it stopped playing music. So we said, okay, let's do this. We brought all the things we learned there into Glitch, saying we are able to now be agile, nimble, and cost effective when we do. So that's what our production setup was. And we said, let's focus primarily on digital because on the mainline TV space, there are way too many production players. So you had
Okay.
all the big names from the Prasoon Pandays of the world, etc. They were all around. So it didn't really make sense for us to enter that space. So we started off with the digital landscape. What helped
Okay.
in our benefit or what really worked is the recession, right? Marketing
Okay.
budgets suddenly got cut
Yes.
everywhere. So
Uh-huh.
now, if I had a crore to spend, suddenly that crore became 10 lakhs. No,
Yes.
none of the production houses were willing to take a 10 lakh film. We
Small
said we'll do
jobs
it.
then.
For us,
Okay.
it was very happy. Like 10 lakhs was very easy for us to make something because we came from that nimble school of thought at Channel.
Yes.
And that's where we grew our business. So
So who was your first
2009,
client then? How did you acquire
uh,
your first billing
so
in this
it's
market?
it's actually the good thing was, see, this is where education and colleges really help. So one thing is colleges give you education, but the other thing is it forms a strong alumni network, right? So
Absolutely.
and it opens doors. So the fact that the day we decided to move on and start something on our own, a lot of our peers and friends were in different places. So suddenly we got a call from Disney saying, "Hey, listen, Disney is launching this new brand called Disney Princess. Do you want to do something around it?" Uh, we had a call from a channel that looked for a rebrand but didn't have the big budgets. So
Okay.
typically, if you look at an entire channel rebrand, is a 8 to 10 crore number, right?
Okay.
Here they had exactly 1/10 of that. They had 80 lakhs. For
Okay.
us, as two people running it, 80 lakhs was a very good number. We said, yeah, we'll do it. And
Uh-huh.
we managed to pull off the entire packaging at that point. So our journey started as a production setup. For 2 full years, we were doing everything. But the thing was, the advantage we had was because we came with tech at the core center of it, because we had tech experience, we turned to all brands that we worked with and said, taking a video and putting it on YouTube is not your digital strategy. Let us try, and internet is all about a interactive medium, right? So so that became our USP. So we were no longer a production company. We were saying
Okay.
that we will help you make interactive videos. So a video where you could choose how your story flows out. So we did
Okay.
all of that. We introduced a lot of tech in our all the content we put out, and
Okay.
that gave us a big edge. So we started winning awards.
Wow.
Somewhere in 2011,
Uh-huh.
we got called for a project for Unilever. So Unilever was launching a new soap, a new shower gel. The Axe brand was launching
Yes.
a shower gel, and they wanted to
Yes.
see ideas, and we pitched an idea which went through, and we went and
Wow.
shot it. Now the good thing was, if you go to Unilever in Bombay, it's a street. Okay, it's a huge campus that they have, and all of the brand managers are lurking in and around that place. So when you do something really good, your word of mouth in that street, your street cred, like they call it, really shoots up. So we did something, and suddenly everybody was like, "Who did this video?" And they started saying glitch, glitch, glitch.
Wow.
And I remember walking down the street when somebody called us and said, "Hey, listen, are you guys an agency?" And we were not an agency. So that was but we had also learned the art of never saying no as a startup, right? So it was like, we didn't know. So we were like, no, what do you want? And he said, so we're launching this new ice cream. And the problem is we're launching in another 3 weeks and we don't have an agency on board. And you guys have come highly recommended and you seem to have done some really good work here. So we quietly turned around and said, yeah, we'll do it. And we said, we'll pitch for it the next day. We went back.
Wow.
We didn't have an
Uh-huh.
agency. So Varun hasn't worked in an agency before. I haven't worked in an agency before. Our
Uh-huh.
entire staff was production oriented, but with a creative mindset. So we sat there and we formed the pitch. of what we thought would be great. We pitched to them. They loved it. They gave us this thing. And overnight, we became an agency. So the Glitch, the production
Wow.
house, became Glitch, the agency.
The agency.
The advantage we had is that we have not worked in an agency before. So we did not know the rules. So it was so easy for us to break the rules. So suddenly we didn't know that, like traditionally agencies are structured with servicing and planning and this and that. We didn't know how that structure was. So we formed the structure basis of the needs of our clients.
So the outcome defined your process completely.
Absolutely. So that's how it started. And that's how Glitch became an agency. And we kept growing on the back of that. And then we had really great talent with us. All of our talent has a large part of them who were there at that point still exist with us. So our creative director now, Shinetro, was earlier in our production team as a director. Prashant, who was our first ever employee, is still our senior creative director in Bombay. So we have a bunch of people who have been there. Then at that journey, Pooja came into our lives. So Pooja was working with Femina, and they were looking at us to come and pitch to them. And we went back to them with a pitch. And that was the only pitch we lost that year. And we were like, how did we lose this pitch? So I remember picking up the phone and asking her, saying, why did you think we lost the pitch? Because I thought we had strong creatives. She said, your creatives were super strong. All of this is great. What you didn't have was a full strat. I'm not seeing, while you had strong creatives, it didn't lead to buying. It didn't convert to sales for me. And I thought that was great insight. And then we got talking, and at some point we said, nobody better to bring that expertise of business lens than her, because she was sitting there. So we spoke. She was also very excited to be part of this journey, and then she came on board. So she came on around 2013 or 14, and that's where we took off as an agency, and then we scaled across the board. More and more clients came in. So we kept pivoting. The good thing is the word pivot is something that we really like, because starting as a production house, pivoted to a digital agency, then pivoting to saying, okay, we will do whatever the system asks, etc. So that's the journey we've had. Then, of course, as you know, early 2018, we got acquired. We came under the WPP umbrella. They came knocking. We had multiple people looking at us, and we didn't know all of these things, right? So things of an acquisition was never at the top of our heads. We were like, okay, we're running a space, it's running smooth. Suddenly we saw interest, and then we realized that that's so it was almost like the question was scale versus control. So we'd rather choose scale. So, and nobody has scale faster, and we chose that. So we
network.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where it was. And then beyond that, I continue to work with startups. I personally love the startup culture, right? I like the agility, the need for speed. So I work with a bunch of startups. I try to live my dreams either as an investor, strategic advisor, or so I also co-founded another company called Chatterbox. Through my journey at Glitch, which is primarily an influencer tech company. So what we realized is that there's a lot of and the influencer ecosystem is very loosely used at that point in time, and there's no marrying data and the right match, finding the right match. So why is it that you are an influencer and I am not, for example? Right? I'm saying that I have a certain influence. My influence may only be 1,000 people, but my influence exists with these 1,000 people and not a million people. And maybe my influence is higher for me to convert to sales. So how do you identify Rohit? So for example, if Rohit tells you that you should watch this movie, you will watch it. So how do I find the Rohit in each location?
The micro influencers there then.
Yes. So this entire network was built across the micro influencer platform, all the way up to the top of the pyramid. But that's a tech-based protocol that's built in, etc. I personally play a small role there now. So while I co-founded, I'm like advisor, strategic partner, etc. It's run by Pranay, who's the CEO there.
So this has been like really eventful, Rohit, right?
Thank you.
And in the process, I can really, distill a few things which are very critical entrepreneur skills, which you in the storytelling, which you did very clearly for students also. It's about, working with shoestring budgets, never saying no for work which is coming in the initial phases. What big agencies, so it's a saying, startups bring down the big giants. And
Yeah.
this is what is happening with the cowboy kind of marketing with youngsters like Rohit have done. And there is no option for the big networks globally to really seriously look at what the youngsters can do as young entrepreneurs in the media entertainment space. Also, your skills about importance of education, having an integrated mindset that you need to fill the pieces together, whether it is from creative to content to client servicing, and then selling, which has been again a big skill. Either you sell during crisis or scarcity. Probably what you said was the case in 2009 is a similar case for lot of
Absolutely.
startups
Yeah.
now, when people are really going to cut down on budgets. Smaller agencies, young media entrepreneurs, freelancers will have a great opportunity, I feel like.
Yeah.
So having said that, Rohit, I will now take you to the little more academic part and kind of things. So typically, what are these fields? We keep see students and people who are hearing it generally feel influencer marketing, content, OTT platforms, and what is this world of all of this tech? Because for a consumer, it is purely a advertisement which we see on the newspaper or on YouTube or on Facebook. But there is a lot of science which I can see is going on. So probably you can throw some light, what is this code? And you mentioned about ambitious brands and digital first brands and content. So probably you can help us to understand these concepts also.
So, okay, let me explain the ambitious digital brands, as I say, right?
Yes.
So let's look at the whole landscape and how it's changed. Uh, is if back in the day, it was all about, so there were multiple factories where products were made, packaged, and then there was a whole distribution supply chain pipeline, right, that came in. And
Yes.
which is why the entry barrier for a lot of brands became that much higher. So, for example, if you wanted to launch your own cosmetic brand uh, 10 years ago, you would have had to find a setup, you would have had to get a factory, then you would have had to figure out who is going to stock it. So you need as many salespeople on ground to do the deals with the shops and things, so on and so forth. What the internet has changed entirely is, with e-commerce coming in, that distribution lens has been taken off entirely, right? So what was
Layer has
Unilever's
gone.
biggest play is the fact that, hey, we have a great distribution pipeline. Today, if I launch a soap, it will reach every house in India. But that same thing I can do today with Amazon. If I launch a soap
Yes.
in my house, I can. So suddenly, that the minute you took the distribution pipeline out and kind of democratized it, everybody now can get into this. So consumer brands, the number of new age consumer brands that are coming up are that much higher, right? Consumers are changing, which means all of the brands need to start looking at it from that lens. And that is where we define what we call an ambitious brand. There are two kinds of brands that exist. One who will sit on a throne of being a leader, has been a leader at some point in time, refusing to change, right? For me, a case in point is Kodak. Kodak should have made Instagram. Kodak should have bought Instagram, not Facebook.
Yes.
So you were in the photography business. You were making it all happen. You had access to photographs. Why did you not do this? The fact that they did not make that change does not makes them a non-ambitious brand for me. The brands that have made this happen, and more, like for me, Unilever is an ambitious brand because Unilever has pivoted, looked ahead, started building. They knew that e-commerce is the future. They moved there. They makeup, for example, they realized with Lakme, when we were working with them, they were happy to take this challenge on saying, Indians don't buy makeup online. How do we change that? What is it that we can do to change? And we managed, they worked with us very closely. So brands that are looking to, are willing to change, are, that there are some brands which assume that we are leaders, why should we change? I think it's very, very important for you. And it's this whole upskilling, as we spoke of, right, is so
Yes.
important, no matter if you're a human being or a brand. So because
Yes.
otherwise you will always stay here and somebody will go above you. So the need
True.
for upskilling, and that's where we define ambitious brands. So what we, for example, call ourselves modern partners to ambitious brands. So we work with
Okay.
brands that are willing to take this chance. So, and there is not, but when I say take this chance, because there are chances that you will fail. Not
Yeah.
everything you do will be right, but it's okay. And that's what we keep saying, right? We love mistakes,
True.
because when you make mistakes, you're doing something new. because otherwise you're only replicating what somebody else has done and you'll never get to the top. So that's something that what we call as ambitious brands. Now, ambitious brands take multiple routes. So they're okay to take a bet on, it's almost that they're taking a bet on the future, right? So let's take Netflix's example. They took the bet on the future where bandwidth was not high enough for people to stream video on their thing, but they went ahead and built it. Because if you asked anybody in 1999, hey, would you subscribe to a Netflix where I could watch a video, etc., you would have said no chance. Like, because I remember in 99, I used to download torrents. And I remember putting a movie for download and waiting 4 days for the movie to download. Right?
Yeah.
So that was our speed. And Netflix didn't. But that was an ambitious brand. They took a huge bet into the future.
Yeah.
What SpaceX is doing today is an ambitious. I mean, that's more than ambitious. That is actual moonshot, right? What we call moonshot project. So if you ask me what is an ambitious brand, for me, any ambitious person or a brand is somebody who's willing to take a risk of something that's outside their comfort zone.
Okay.
And willing to, because if you don't step out of your comfort zone, that zone will fall to. So that's the key thing there.
Okay. And then what is this world of content marketing, influencer? How does this piece put together for a brand? And then what exactly you all do, or so then it emerges the kind of jobs which happen, in that industry.
So this is actually the evolution of advertising also, right? Back in the day, you had one TV channel and you would watch it, and then ads would come in. Why is the Cadbury ad so iconic, or why is the really old, like, it's nostalgia for all of us, right? Quiz questions and stuff. Limca and thumbs up
Bajaj,
and gold.
Limca,
Yeah,
of course.
Because the point is you didn't have the skip ad option.
Yes.
When you watched it, you watched the whole ad. It was nice and it stuck. I'm not denying the fact that it was a great ad, but it's also the fact that you saw it as many times. We didn't have the choice of that. Now, today, we are not just bombarded with options in terms of channels to watch on TV, but on OTT. Like, for example, I don't end up watching ads because I have YouTube Premium. I don't see ads. And I realize as an advertiser, it's really bad for me, but I just don't want to see ads. So nobody is anymore going and finding these ads. So advertising had to evolve, right? Which means it's like nobody wakes up in the morning and says that, hey, let me go look at this ad. People are going to wake up in the morning and say, let me go look at this content. Sometimes that content will happen to be an ad. So how do we, so that is where content marketing came into be. So advertising's evolution was, we would make commercials targeted to this. Now, if the audience has moved away from not just this to other things, like for example, you're looking up on YouTube. Now, if what you are doing right now, right? So this could be an ad in itself. It's a series of, it's a content series that you're doing with people in the market, etc., where you're having conversations. Everybody who's watching, I am willingly coming here as a student to listen to what two people are talking. Inadvertently, it also advertises you and your company as a larger aspect. So it's saying, hey, I heard this here from this person. Let me go to that person for this expertise. So that's exactly what content marketing is. Content marketing is so the days of push advertising is over. It's almost like pull advertising. So the content marketing is ads that you go searching for. You will wake up in the morning and say, let me go look at, I really like this song. I want to see the music video. The music video happens to be a Pepsi song, right? So that becomes content marketing. Influencers, for me, is again the evolution of what media buying was, right? There was a point when you would buy Times of India and there would be ads in the newspaper because it came to you. Today, you're not buying the newspaper. You're following a lot of people on social platforms. And when they say something that matters to you. So suddenly they have the power of distribution. So they have the power of people who follow them for a certain piece of advice. So for me, if I look at influencers for me are distribution networks. I can identify who I'm looking for. Like, for example, if I'm a sports person, if I'm a sports brand, I will find
Mhm.
somebody that a lot of sports oriented people are following, right? So I will identify that person who's an influencer in this aspect. It could be a cricketer, it could be a sportsman, or it could be Harsha Bhogle, who's a commentator, or
Correct.
Gaurav Kapoor is a commentator, right? Now, it
So,
can go into any aspect of it. They all have a certain level of following, and then when they tell you something, it's influencer marketing is not a new thing.
okay.
It has existed since the beginning. Like Michael Jordan is an influencer, right? When he made Air Jordans and Air Jordans sold out, not just because it was a great shoe, it was because it's Michael Jordan. Like, I want to wear what he was wearing. So is
Yes.
that influencer marketing? It's absolutely influencer marketing. No two ways about it. Today, the only thing is there are about 400x more influencers
Influencers.
because
Okay.
everybody is a creator. Everybody has this device called the phone where suddenly
Okay.
everybody's become a creator, and each platform has its own influencer.
Its own set of influencers.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how does this all would comes together with the OTT platforms? Because now people, it's not too far a time when people will really unsubscribe from cable TV at home and just move on the Netflix. It's already started with youngsters. What happened with the landline telephones and people moving directly to mobiles is the same consumer base which we are talking to, and everybody's trying to sell to them.
Yeah. So, I mean, if are you asking me what is the
Yeah, so
future
what
for?
this yeah, so what, how does this all tweak in as a future for youngsters who are listening to us, influencer, and then the OTT platforms, and then how it is all unfolding in the media entertainment industry? Where will the money be spent now by brands?
So, brands will go where people are. They're very
Okay.
clear about that, right? So, and
Oh,
are people still watching TV? Yeah, I'm sure there's a large segment who does watch TV, right? I realized that I had a Tata Sky in my house which has not been recharged for the last 8 months, and I realized this
correct.
because I was moving something and I found this device there. So it's like I
Uh-huh.
don't remember the last time I've seen TV because, and
Correct.
I think it's habit, right? And the day you break that habit or get into that habit, it becomes this thing. So, for example, for me, Netflix has become a habit. It's like I can watch what I want to watch when I want to watch and go for it. For example, for my mom,
Mm-hmm.
programmed scheduled TV was good, which is
Uh,
basically she knew Monday at so and so time, so and so will happen. Tuesday.
yes.
So she would work her way around the programming, and that's how we all grew up at some point. Now,
Yes.
suddenly, when you say that you don't have to wait for Monday, you can do it at any time. It's your convenience. That
Mm-hmm.
changed the game for them. So and I think the largest thing is internet penetration also, right? I think
Sure.
Geo is what it is,
Yes.
and you can't take it away. Mr. Ambani has built what. I mean, when he called data the new oil, he was absolutely right, because
Correct.
what
So
it
true.
has done is it's democratized everything. And
Oh,
uh, I go into my lift and I see my lift man watching probably the same same movie. Like, I saw him watching Dark Knight Rises the other day in Hindi, but he was
yes.
watching it and he had access to it in Hindi, and he's like, dude,
Yes.
why not? And the same, I've seen this happen. So today he's watching it on Geo because he's on
Mm.
this, and bandwidth is literally free, right? It's
Yes.
the price that he pays, 199 rupees for unlimited bandwidth, and that's okay. He was saying that earlier, about 4 years ago, every pan tapri used to apparently have this service where you paid 50 rupees, okay, as a
Mm-hmm.
deposit, and you would get a micro SD card,
SD card,
and that
yes, of
SD
course.
card would have songs, music, and games in. And
Preloaded.
every
Yeah,
month,
yeah.
yeah, and every month you
Ah,
would go back to the pan tapri, give him this, and he would give you a new card. So it
okay.
was technically the VHS library of what we had, or what
Yes.
Netflix started as, what the
Yeah.
Pantapris are doing for the Bharats of the world, right? But today with
So,
Geo coming in, all that is gone.
so
Now
true.
entertainment is no longer. So when we were young, entertainment was either a 3 hour movie or a 22-minute show. Today,
True.
entertainment is everything from a 6-second TikTok video to
True.
a one and a
Yes.
half hour episode of Game of Thrones, right? And we have what it does is, because the canvas is that wide, we have that
Yes.
many more creators coming in, that many more platforms. So when I go to
Platforms.
TikTok, and it's the most fascinating platform I've seen, because I'm just going through it the other day, and I haven't been on that platform as much, and it's everybody is a creator, and people you didn't expect are creators making their own video. And why did TikTok succeed? Is because, and if I compare TikTok and YouTube, right? YouTube is also a platform where you can make a video and put it up. TikTok is also a platform where you can make a video and put it up. But the problem is YouTube never told you what to make. TikTok, if I went there, it told me challenges every day, saying that, today we are asking for people to do, they'll show a template of a guy and a girl walking and the guy doing this one turn. Can you do it? And people across the length and breadth of the country have done it just to get in followers and validation. And that's where they grew. So compared to YouTube, but all said and done, where is television going and where is this going? I think the answer lies with all of us in here. Right? We are having this conversation on a laptop screen. We're not having it on TV anymore. And TV doesn't let you do interactive television. I can see people shooting questions to me here. We couldn't have done that. We couldn't have done that if this was a TV. So that's the answer. The future is not TV.
So now coming to a very, academic and relevant question for students, what do they do after graduation to come into an industry of media, entertainment and tech put together? Do they need professional skills? And if they have, what kind of skills they need to acquire to come in this industry? Overall in media, entertainment, and then they can probably know what is needed in your industry. Because most of them are graduating students who are now thinking what next after graduation.
I think it's a great time, right? So if you're graduating right now, and this is the perfect time for you to do this, because I wish I could do it when I was young, because it gives you clarity. Now there are so many things that are there in a media landscape. Just when I say media landscape, right, not advertising. And advertising alone, there are like some 18 departments. Right now, where does your skill lie? What do you want to do? Because your reading of advertising would be that, hey, I'm very good at writing ads. But when you enter advertising industry, you realize there is no concept of writing ads like that. There is first strategic roadmap of building where it is. You can't just come to me and say, I wrote this ad for Nike. And if it doesn't tie up to a strategic long-term vision that Nike has, right? Now that's a learning you have only when you work in the department. So for me, I think what graduation does is it has given you 10 basic skills or a basic understanding of the whole space. Now it is up to you to go. It's almost like saying practicals, right? Theory and practicals. So your time is to go do practical. Internships are a great option. I know it is very tough to get an internship sometime. If you're in Bombay, you're far luckier because there is a larger thing. I know the other day we were on a panel where Web Chutney was talking about doing 50-intern program across the country, etc. But internships for me have been my biggest learning. And my best piece of advice somebody gave me, and I'll pass that on, is do not say no. So when you go to intern, you may be interning in a certain department, but put your nose into 4 other departments, because that is the place for you to learn. Because maybe the department you're in is not. I swear, I joined Channel as an intern. The first 3 days somebody told me, come here, make a logo. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know why they assumed because that I was a graphic designer. So I sat there to make a logo. And as I was making a logo, somebody was doing a shoot. So I put my thing and started contributing. They said, okay, why don't you come AD on the shoot? But I said, I have to make this logo and AD on the shoot. So which means there was twice the work, but that was fine. When you're young, you're able to take that kind of pressure to do it. Do not say no and put your no, just walk into, have your voices heard. I know it is tough if you're an introvert, etc. And that's another learning that we had the other day. See, today in this post-COVID world, when we're having 9 out of 10 times, if you're going to try it for an internship now, it's going to be a remote internship, right?
Yes.
Get yourself into as many brainstorms as you can. Put your point across. Know why you're wrong. It's okay to be the most foolish person putting the most stupidest idea, because you never know the stupidest idea might win you the next scan. And if it's a stupid idea, let somebody call out and tell you it's a stupid idea. So there is validation saying that, okay, that didn't work, why? And then tomorrow when you see the idea that went through, you will know why yours didn't and why that did. But if you're looking to enter the workspace, if you're just finished your graduation, I would say take some time off and try and get into a place where you can get your hands dirty. Like get into internships, try working with somebody who's so production houses. If you want to dabble with this thing, maybe it's not the department. You'll either know exactly what I want to do, or you'll know what I don't want to do.
True.
Right? Now, once you figure that out, then maybe you can look at a upskilling program around that aspect to scale it. Like if you entered advertising today, you will realize that there is a birth of a new department called data science, right?
Yes.
And which didn't exist at some point. And now that is a huge area where there are not enough
Rohit, I think your net. Will you repeat the last part on the data science? I think the net was little unstable there. Yeah, the data science
is this
part.
better?
Oh, much better.
Yeah, no. What I was saying is, if you look at it today, data science is a new department that's springing up in advertising. There are not enough skilled people in data science at this point in time, because it's also a new age piece, right? So it's probably something that's come up in the last 10 years. So there is not enough people there. So it'll be nice if data science is exciting you when you say, go upskill yourself in data science, because you will be the most wanted commodity. Like I need somebody who's able to look at data across 10 different platforms and tell me. Like we launched Magnum ice cream, the ice cream brand we spoke of. We launched it in Madras. We didn't launch it in Delhi. We didn't launch it in Bombay. When we tested it in Madras, because data told us that Madras has summer 365 days of the year. The average temperature of Madras in the whole year is 36 degrees. So which means ice cream consumption can be higher in that segment. Because if I launch it in Delhi in winters, that's the sale will dip, right? So if you want to test a market, so when we say data science, it means somebody who's looking at 18 different parameters and able to cull insights and say, okay, this and this match, and give it to a creative guy who can give you whatever rendition we can. But that is also advertising.
Yes.
But you didn't think that was advertising when you were looking at it from the back end and you're just reading a newspaper saying, "Arey, I can write better copy than." That's just 1/10 of advertising. There is so much more science to it, and that's something that you'll know only when you start working in an agency at some point. So,
in fact, to give you a parallel example, I was a part of the launch team for the Foster's beer, Foster's Brewing Group, and Australian for beer. Entire data in those days used to tell us about you should launch it in Delhi in the summers and all of those. There are hot places. We launched that in the rainy season in Mumbai city, which is like unheard of in a beer industry. Who will drink a cold beer? But the data said that people in Mumbai drink beer throughout the year. So very, very...
because humidity, right?
Yes.
Clearly, humidity is a factor. So weather is making such an impact on your advertising decision. Nobody realized that. So it's...
everybody wanted an Australian and creative and all, but we said no, this is the time, so that 2-3 months you prepare yourself, and when the real season starts coming, your distribution is in place. So very, very similar. But on the internship, I just thought I will add something. Many a time students, they feel, why should I do free internship, and this is not my interest area of internship. My personal advice to them is whether it is online, virtual, physical, and whether it is paid or free, it's the best time to do internship. And that best time is any time when you have time, please do some kind of internship. Because academic undergraduate knowledge alone will never help you to land up in good agencies, and you will not learn anything in academics in undergraduate level much. Because it's completely textual. Only doing projects with 4 friends in the class will not help. So
I
think about internship and then I should get stipend. It can be unpaid, without stipend. This is just the beginning of the career. Also, Rohit, I just wanted to validate my views on this. We at Welingkar also very strongly believe, because students are initially unclear and everybody can't do many internships. There is a time span and they don't get good projects. We always suggest graduating students to first do a program, maybe an integrated program like us, understand the various 10, 12 aspects which you mentioned: data, creative, client servicing, digital marketing, all of this in an entire manner. Keep doing internship and projects when you are in a program. That will help you to actually know what is your calling, because you may think you are very good in talking and client servicing, But client servicing roles are now converging into managerial roles, which are design roles together, and design and data go together. So there are probably innovation roles which are emerging, So
Yeah.
probably a professional post graduation from good business schools. See, business schools have now become creative schools merged with management and creativity. So that is what we suggest students, just don't go run after internship, because after 1 year you will land up and then you realize yaar main kidhar bhi nahi hu, that way. So that is one thought. We thought ki management education, because your journey also says you took the right decisions with data and created the opportunity and had the guts to say yes when the pricing was okay types, and also leave some work during your journey, but that are managerial decisions, and then putting
Yeah.
together leadership skills, team skills, growing the organization, doing a JV with a network like WPP for a young startup is not easy, ultimately. Those are business decisions. So we
From the
suggest
internship point, I have just one small point to make, saying
yeah,
if you're good at something, don't do anything for free, is what they say, right? And
yes,
I agree with that. But when they say don't do anything for free, I would take it in there are two values to it. One is either you look at it from a stipend perspective, or the other you take it from a learning perspective. Both of them
yes,
are equal amount in terms of value that is brought in. So
yes,
if you're doing something which is not even remotely exciting, then you might as well get a stipend for it and get them paid
wait for it.
this thing, right? But if it's a learning, the learning is equivalent to it's almost like you're going. I told you, right? Channel B for me was film school that paid me. So I went to
Yes.
work there. Channel B had really bad pay, okay, like compared to anybody else, because all my peers who, when we came out of college, they were making 3 times the money I did. So my money exactly paid for my rent and like just about how to live. But the thing was, in 2 years at Channel V, I managed to gain so much that now when I step out, my thing would have gone 10x. So it's like how you invest into a stock when it's really low, or
Yes.
how you invest into an angel
True.
company as an
Yes.
angel investor, and it's the same outlook. So I would say that keep in mind, if you're good at something, do not do it for free. And I still constantly say it. If you can get paid for it, you can get paid for it. But payment can either be monetary, or it could be a learning or a
Learning.
skill.
Or
So
it could be
you
a
weigh that
great,
option.
it
Yeah.
could be, Rohit, a good, maybe you're doing it free, but it could be a good networking opportunity. Where do you
Yeah.
otherwise get time to
Like
deal
I
with
give
this
you,
kind of talent?
I give you an example from our end. Roshan Abbas is one of our partners at Glitch, and it's
Okay.
funny because Varun and I started this, and 2 years down the line, we got a call from Roshan.
Uh-huh.
So basically, Roshan runs a company called Encompass, right? So
Yes, the event
which was
company.
acquired by WPP. So it was
Yes.
the stories of serendipity, which is basically they wanted to do some film. Somebody else said no. They came to us last minute. We did the film. Roshan happened to be hosting the event, saw the film, and said, "I want to meet these guys." He met us. We had a great chat. The conversation was over. Then a year later, he was making a movie, and the movie was going to release on a Friday, and on a Monday he didn't have a title sequence, and he was struggling because the title sequence he had was really bad. So out of the blue, I got a call from Roshan saying that, "Hey, can you help me out? I have run out of money with my film, but I'm okay to pay from my pocket whatever thing." I said, "Okay." So we went ahead and we made the title. We never charged him for it. So when he asked us how much to pay you for the title, because the title went out, it was in the film, everybody liked it, all that. He said, "How much should I pay you for it?" We said, I'll tell you what, we're
Uh-huh.
not charging you for this title. What we'll
Wow.
take from you instead is your expert advice in terms of how to
Wow.
why don't you mentor us in growth? Because he had exited his company to WBP.
Yes.
That for us is the most expensive title film we've ever made, because end of the day, he was the one who then became part of our journey, gave us the advice, helped us scale all of that thing. So again, like I said, we're not doing anything for free. We didn't charge
Yes.
him money, but what we did instead was take a skill, or take advice, or
Yes.
take mentorship. So
So
an internship, don't wait just by the fact that somebody is offering you a
yeah.
stipend versus, hey, that place will give me that much more learning. That's my thing.
True, true. And absolutely, it gives you a network of people which can give you further internships, that will give you clarity
Yeah.
on what kind of roles you are good at, because that will help you to experiment. And that's what business schools also give you. There are alumni who are across so many years in different parts of the industry. They come to your rescue, and there is where you learn also. So what we will do now, you can also have a look, Roshan, at some questions there, but I consolidated looking at things, so somebody's talking what is the role of a copywriter and what is on content and what is client servicing. So probably let me put together a question for you from the questions.
Sure.
My team is messaging me here. So what are the roles which youngsters can look at in agency businesses or on the client businesses? So that is first question. And then they're asking, are there non-technical roles also? Because I'm not a creative person, I'm not a tech person, I'm not a photo person. So what are the roles there, and what are the various roles which usually youngsters get into, and how they move ahead then?
So typically, from the crux of an advertising, if I'm looking at advertising, right?
Advertising, yeah, media entertainment space, maybe.
Yeah.
New
So
age.
if I look at advertising agencies, there are typically three spaces that I can put you into, right? One is the creative segment. So creative segment is everybody from people who can write really well, who can shoot really well, who can draw, paint, all of that, right? So art, copy, code, etc.
Yeah.
Then comes the business segment, which is people who are great with selling. I may not have a creative bone in my this thing, but I'll be able to I'm a good conversationalist. I'll be able to sell to people. I can project manage, right? So when I look at client servicing, see, a client servicing person should not be a paper pusher in my opinion. The problem in client servicing, you assume, is that I will speak to the client will tell me this, I will take this and give it to the, so you're basically that middleman. And
Postman,
I keep saying this, if what you do has a pattern, artificial intelligence will replace you. You will be replaced by a robot eventually. So do not build a pattern in what you do, right? So client servicing is not that. Client servicing is far more. It's more operational. It's trying to say what is the, so if, for example, if the client wants to launch at a certain time, you draw the roadmap for these guys, say, okay, which means I need to do this at this point, this at this point, arranging that together, fighting with the respective teams to making sure that things are delivered on time. All of that comes under servicing, planning, servicing and account management or operations aspect.
Which is a business role typically, is it?
It is. It is a business role because you will be running the P&L of whatever brand you are running, right? So you will be responsible. So for example, if there is a brand you are working on, advertising typically works on retainers, right? So you win an account, you get a X amount monthly fee, but that X amount of monthly fee will not be enough for your company to survive on. It will need to do X plus business, which means, so for example, if a brand is paying me say 10 lakhs a month as a retainer, that is not enough for me to build the whole thing. What I need next is another 10 lakhs a month of upsells, which could either be a video or a website or something I'm doing or a campaign, etc. So making sure that you are on track, your business is on track, etc., is something that a business role does. So if you are, if you're not a creative person, but if you have a gift of the gab, if you're somebody who can convince people, who can get three people with massive egos to work together, because creative people come with egos. They're not the designer and the creative director and this thing, everybody, but you are the person holding ship. That is primarily the business thing. Then there is the scientific aspect of it, which is where I was talking about data science, right? For example, data science, planning, insight culling, all of these people who are able to translate numbers to insights. It's like they're able to see, just because there is a spike in a certain thing, it can correlate to something else in. So data science is definitely a growing thing right now. What every agency has is a planning team. A planning team is somebody who's looking at, is the one who's doing insights and looking at research, etc. But today, research back in the day was like, I would build a product, I would send it out to the market. 6 months later, I would get a report, and then today feedback is instant. Your social media channels are telling you every day what people like, what they don't like. If people want to boycott China apps today, in the next 24 hours, all these Xiomis of the world have to react also to it, because that's what is happening, right? So I need to have somebody who will be able to tell me or call an iceberg before it hits it. So that's where planning. So the science aspect is coders, data scientists, all of this come into the aspect there. So
Okay.
so the three aspects, the creative, there's people who are inclined towards science also have a role there, and people
Okay.
who are inclined towards sales, business, etc. also
Business
have a role.
part. So somebody who probably, so I'm just combining again the question. People are asking, so if I want to do in this industry, what are the various courses, So just I'll answer in 1-2 lines there. Courses could be any, like data science and all are really, really very serious programs, Maybe statistical background could be of help there in a data
Yeah.
science program. And then there could be creative. You want to be a hardcore filmmaker or a creative designer, then a JJ school and the likes of those creatives could be a good idea. If you are looking at business as a part and then also having an integrated view as a media manager, then a business school probably, which we are talking on the platform today, Welingkar, or there would be other players, could be a good part which teaches you business, merges it with creativity and technical, and helps to solve clients' problems or maybe give solutions and getting work done from all these people with ego and people with statistical brains, and then the outdoor shoots and integrating celebrities and events and endorsements and branding, doing sponsorship deals. So that's a business call of a media manager kind of a role, either on the client side, or which could be you would be a PR executive or a corporate communication brand manager, product manager, or on the agency side, like at the Glitch, you will be handling some functions, or it could be probably on the broadcaster side also. You could be with a Netflix or a YouTube or a Google. So these are all media integrated managerial roles. You will have to go through a program or through internship models or take advice from mentors to really know, what is your calling, and it doesn't happen overnight, So you will have to go
Yeah,
through
I
the,
agree. It'll be
you have
good
to
to
go
do
through the.
it'll be good to do a program which gives you a glimpse of all of it,
True.
like the generalist program, which is probably what
Yes.
most of the colleges
That's
which offer. And then once you
true.
decide where you want to go specifically, go and upskill in that particular,
That's field.
like a
And then
precision
is
thing.
when you can, that's exactly, Rohit, what we do at the Wellinger. We do a 11-month program with 12, 13 different verticals. We
Yeah,
take them
that's
through
perfect
that,
actually.
then have experts like you to guide them, and then they do capstone projects. So they know a holistic media entertainment industry in 11 months. Then people go into the journey. And then maybe after a year or so, they think it was digital SEO, SEM, digital is my vertical. They can always go for an online program. And now with online education, you can upgrade yourself in whatever data science. You just do a good data science program online, and you are sorted that way. So again, Rohit, here people are also asking, do we need specific skills? Specific skills, and I remember what we discussed on our other panel, that you are not sending a person to the moon. You have to
Exactly.
start. Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
I think that assurance you
advertising
must
is
give them.
no, which is what it is. I mean, we actually say this so many times because
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I don't think I'm. We are not. You're not saving. You're not in the profession of saving lives. You're not sending
Yeah.
somebody to the moon. So it's advertising at the end of the day. You're trying to sell a product now, and
Yes.
I think inherently as Indians, we're all bin sellers, right? We had to convince somebody to do something. As a child, you had to convince your parents to buy you something. As you grew up, you had to convince somebody else to do something. So if you are a good convincer, anybody who can convince anybody can become an advertiser, in my opinion.
True.
So because
So
end
true.
of the day, advertising is all about convincing another person. You're probably convincing a larger set of audience, right? Now that is a very broad definition. But that said, I think what advertising, the rising up the ranks, and that's something we discussed last time as well, is the person who is able to, the generalist is the guy who succeeds more than a specialist at this point specifically,
Yes.
right? So, because the
Completely agree.
person
Our
who
research
knows,
says that.
yeah, because the person who knows a little bit of this because you will always find somebody specialized to do that. So I remember
Yes.
this in when I was studying in college. There was the option of people who wanted to be cinematographers, and there was this option of somebody who wanted to be a sound editor, etc. I wanted to be a director because end of the day,
Yes.
director has a basic knowledge of all of these things. But you hire the specialist to do the DOP work and somebody else. But the control of the entire thing lies with the person on top, which becomes a director, right? And that's what
Perfect.
it is.
Perfect.
So if you want to look at is specializing in something a bad thing? No, not
No.
everybody wants to go ahead and become the this thing, right?
CEO.
Not everybody wants to be the CEO. So it's okay to be the chief design officer because I'm a design specialist. I work on design and I want to be practically known for one particular kind. It's fair. And there's nothing wrong in it. But in an advertising spectrum, the ones who succeed more are generalists, in my opinion. People who have their fingers across multiple departments, who can transition between two departments.
And then get everybody work together to achieve an
Exactly,
outcome. So
yeah.
the leadership skills, the team skills, the managerial skills also are becoming very, very evident now, especially in a no-feel, no-touch economy, in
Absolutely.
a entire gig economy, because there is here where the entire managerial skills now come together to put things.
Yeah.
So absolutely perfect. You would like to pick up some questions, Rohit, from there are a lot of questions in Q&A and chat. So we can take one or more two questions here.
I mean, I'm okay to answer anything. The way I'm just overwhelmed with the number of questions that are thrown in.
So, friends, I must tell you, there are a lot of questions on which is a good course, which is a good college. We will not disturb Rohit with that. We should make the best use of his time to know about the industry and the domain. So, for those questions, you can write to us at info@yangpoo.com. And we will get in touch. You have filled the registration forms. We can answer those questions independently. We can counsel you on that. But Rohit, probably you should pick up a question, which is
I think the
like,
first question that somebody's asked is very interesting. Okay, it says, why is it that after a startup is successful, they get acquired and co-founders are sidelined? And I actually want to answer this because the problem is in our country, acquiring or this thing is looked at as a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. Let me explain that to you because it is. I know that people have come to me, "Arey, bech diya." It's bech diya. Big gaya. So it is. So you have to know that there and no founders do not get. At least I still work with Glitch. Varun still works with Glitch, and we're actively. What it gives us is now suddenly we have the freedom to do 20 other things also, right? And the other key aspect I want to say is that it's not. Why did we get acquired? Because there are certain skill sets you come with and there's certain growth pattern you go in, right? Now there is a bigger conglomerate who has a certain other skill set. Now, if I am okay to let go of my control, I can either get from point A to point D in 40 years, or I can go from point A to point D in 2 years, right? I would, if I had to, and for that I had to lose some control of my company, it's okay. And I would happily do that. So for me, I don't think an acquisition or end of the day building a company so that you get acquired is not a bad thing. It's somebody is acquiring it so that you're taking it to another level. What you have done is you've got a certain set of people. Maybe you've built them equipped enough to, like for example, today with Glitch, I'm not the CEO and Varun is not the CEO. We're both not the CEO. The CEO is, we have a person who is running the ship for us, which gives us the freedom to start looking at the future or looking at other things. So it gives us that access to this, right? And that has been very, very key. So I don't think acquisitions are a bad thing. And I don't think founders get, I mean, you will always hear about it, but there are always stories that do go the other way around, but it's not always the case. So I just want to answer
I think it's a premium for your talent and what you have created that somebody is interested in acquiring you. And especially in your media entertainment industry, we have seen that the big networks had no choice but to look at specialized young people who are really taking them head on in the entire client.
Because I mean, they were losing business to. Suddenly, they were losing business to a new lot, and they didn't know where they were going wrong. So that's the
where they were going wrong. The new thinking came only because of startups like you. So, Varun, I will ask you the last question as we continue on the graduating students, but I can see a lot of questions and chats here about people who are already in the industry. I am a copywriter, I am a client servicing. I'm seeing all of those. So people who are graduates with 2-3 years of experience, and now, the reality is very different. There are no jobs, job cuts and all of those. So they are also doing, what now do they do? How do they upskill themselves, So what should these people in the industry already do? Should they go back to school like business schools like Welingkar, do some program like online? What do they do now for next 1.5 years?
So, I mean, I know it's a tough time, right? Because there have been layoffs in our industry as well. We can see across the board that people are being laid off. There is and there is also a hiring freeze. So probably getting another job becomes that much tougher, right? But I think for me, the two ways to look at it, either look at it as an opportunity, saying that now I don't know what spectrum you are coming from, right? So where you try to hand at it saying, I know a lot of graduates who finish graduation want to do a 2-year work-ex thing before they go ahead to do an MBA or a
Program.
specialized thing, right?
Yes.
Maybe this is the right time to go learn, educate yourself, because also our economy is going to hit that downturn right now. So by the time the recovery happens, maybe you would have finished your course and come out, you would be at the prime. So education is a great
Take off.
space for you to enter and try out. If you're looking at education, if you were considering it, put that higher on your this thing, because it'll definitely give you that edge. Because see, the thing is, what I do is I compare any education that you want to do with where you are right now. See, if I am at a certain position in my job, I am going to be quitting my job to study. 2 years of studies later, if I come out, will I be in a position way higher than where I would have been if I was continuing in this job? Because you do get a promotion at the end of the year and things like that.
Increments will happen. So,
and if I have to measure that today, in today's scenario, that is it, the education aspect is much higher, right? Because you will go back to study, and by the time you come out, the economy must be in a much better
shape.
Because everybody is calling 2022 the recovery year.
Yes.
So you would be out by 2022. So I think education is a good aspect. And education doesn't necessarily always have to be this thing. You can always do a remote learning aspect of it, etc. on that front. The second thing is, this is also the opportunity to start up.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Entrepreneurship in your media entertainment, this could be the chance. Because my understanding, Rohit, is there are not going to be any permanent jobs. I mentioned it that day. There are going to be freelancing, project job, only assignment-driven jobs. And I think this is the time for that.
No, but that's the thing is, it's very easy to turn around and say, okay, I'm going to start something, but be very sure what you are starting and why is it relevant in today's times. Because don't go and start another social media agency, because there are dime a dozen, and today the biggest of agencies have cut their costs that much because they want business, they're losing business, right? So don't start a social media, but see what will work today in this economy. Who can you help with? Are there new age e-com brands that are coming up? Do you want to set up an e-com practice? Maybe, I don't know. There are multiple options. The next big idea is sitting in this few months. Whoever is coming out with the next big revolution will happen in the next few months, which will be the next whoever.
So true. So last personal question to you, what new skill did you learn during this lockdown period, and how have you been updating yourself, either through online learning, or what is your, view on continuous learning?
So I have two contradicting views, right? I keep telling people education is overrated. Okay. But learning is very important.
Yes.
So I always stop people from going back to college. And because for me, I'm like, why can't you learn when you're parallelly, like, why can't learning and working happen parallelly?
Together. Yeah.
This remote working has really helped me with one thing. It has it's given me that freedom to start doing these things, right? So I do upskill myself randomly with all kinds of courses, but in this entire lockdown, I'm in the process of finishing a course which is completely different from what I'm doing. It's on financial markets and valuations.
Wow.
So so basically I found this program. It was on Yale, and I signed up for it because I also work with a lot of startups, and I kind of work closely with them. So I wanted to have an understanding of how we could. What are the other metrics we could look at valuations from, right? Certain things, and I just wanted to get into it. It got supremely technical at some point, but but now something that so my wife and I, we do this. We just signed up for a course to learn Bahasa. So because the one country we really love the most is Indonesia, okay? And I personally see a lot of potential in Indonesia to be the next big market, emerging market for tech startups.
Like Vietnam, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and Indonesia is huge, right? It's the fourth biggest economy, the fourth biggest this thing, right? And it's almost the size of India, like 1/4 the size of India. It's the biggest one in that entire Southeast Asian spectrum. So we've been trying to learn Bahasa using a small little app called Babbel, and hopefully in 40 days it says that we'll be able to speak Bahasa. And Bahasa is a very easy language to pick up. It has 400 words, and only those 400 words are all you need to know. So,
and this is a true democratization of learning and education. You know how you are using this app. My children are working on Duolingo to learn a new language, and absolutely online tech has revolutionized and democratized education. What we believe at Yangpoo, exactly like that. So Rohit, thank you very very much for such a fantastic, easy to understand, insightful session. Let me thank you on behalf of the Welingkar Institute of Management and my management team at Wellinkars and my team at Yangpoo Executive Education and Career Mentors. And we shall be in touch. Best of luck to you, Rohit. And we look forward to inviting you to the Wellinkar campus for a session with our students.
Sure. Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.